what's the biggest battle that you're facing at the moment?
At the moment, the government are in my way. The school system is fucked. And I need to get them out of my way. Since lockdown, business got really hard, and I'm still fucking angry with what the government did. Certainly the second and third lockdown was a crime against humanity. Why is there not a proper trial? I remember Andrew Tate said to me, "You're not a man until your dad dies." If we think of what the qualities of a man are, a modern man, I think I've ticked most of the fucking boxes. Some of these alpha males, I don't think that's what a man is. Or now a sigma, I mean, those words make me sick in my mouth. I understand that women really, really deep down want safety. If they feel so safe, they take you for granted. That's the fucking start of the end. It really amuses me when people get fucking so wildly pissed off about my content and they comment on it. What's the algorithm gonna do? Here's what the universe does that's funny. If I don't feel seen at home, then a lot of my fans will see me. How can I not feel seen? If anyone watches this and goes, Lewis believes everything that Robs believes, then they're an idiot. Because you believe what you believe and I believe what I believe. And just because if I said something controversial doesn't mean you believe it. You're just interviewing me. Seconds out, round 3.
So, Rob, how are you really doing? Tell me the truth, not a podcast answer, the truth.
Well, my podcast answers are the truth. How am I really doing? Business this quarter has been brilliant, but hard. Business last quarter was brilliant, but hard. Mm-hmm. Middle of last year was hard. And so business-wise, because that is important to me, and I'll get the layers down for you because I know you'll want more. You'll just look at me like this. So business is important to me because it's a great part of my identity. And I am an entrepreneur. That's what I call myself when people ask me, who am I and what do I do? You know, and some of these spiritual people say, oh, well, you know, you are not your job. You are not your business. That is not who you are. It kind of is. You know, I'm sure you don't mind being called a podcaster. I don't mind either. So business is important to me because it's a way I impact the world. So since lockdown, business got really hard and I'm still fucking angry with what the government did. And I've been talking to politicians, very famous ones, saying that I thought that certainly the second and third lockdown was a crime against humanity. Why is there not a proper trial? And I experienced it. I had 100 staff. I had to deal with and navigate that. So since lockdown, business got really fucking hard for us. And it was like we had a honeymoon period for 15 years. Mark and I, my business partner, we were getting 50, 100% growth every year. It wasn't like everything we touched turned to gold, but every year was good profit. Our big problem was getting the tax bill down, not making the money in the first place. We were lean, we were fast. We had high margin. And then the margin squeezed before lockdown. And then lockdown was hard. We actually made some really good profit in lockdown, but it was fucking brutally hard. You know, I had to sit in the kitchen up there with my MD and my business partner with the spreadsheet of our 105 staff on, going, gotta let them go, gotta let them go. Oh, but I really like that person, so do I. Gotta let them go. Oh, they're a really hard worker, gotta let them go. They're really struggling in their family and their life, still gotta let them go. Keep them. And we had to go down from 100 to 35. That's fucking brutal. And that's something that you never want to do. If you have a soul and you're an entrepreneur, you know, that like you want to protect your people. One of the reasons I still hire a lot of staff when maybe everyone's using AI is because I like people. I don't want to do this via AI. We don't like doing this through Zoom because we want the connection. So since lockdown, it's been brutal, but we're fucking winning. Motherfuckers, Labour, motherfuckers, we're still winning. And it feels really good. But it's really hard. And it feels like, fucking hell, things are going really well. But if I take my eye off the ball for a second, you know, it's like your newborn baby. You've finally got the thing to sleep. And as soon as you go and shut your eyes, wah, shit, it's everything. And so, like, business is really good, but I'm on it closely. Fitness and health-wise is pretty good. I'm still boxing a bit since my fight. Not so much the last 8 weeks, but I feel pretty fit I'm nearer 50 than I am 40. I know, don't look it. And so, you know, fitness, boxing wise is okay. Fitness, like working out wise, is pretty good. I've never really had consistency in my life with fitness. I've gone 6 months, got pretty good, injury. 6 months, got pretty good, got busy. 6 months, got pretty good. Oh, I met a girl. So obviously, you're in good shape because you've done it consistently over many years. You know that that's important. I've kind of gone like that. But I mean, back in the game there. Emotionally, pretty good. Like I'm mostly in control of my emotions and I'm having to deal with a lot. Personally, I probably feel quite lonely. And I think that's not uncommon for entrepreneurs. I don't want to say it's lonely at the top because I'm not at the top. I'm not Elon Musk. But, today I'm quite overwhelmed with fucking a billion things on. And everyone wants something from you, but most people don't want to give something to you. And I have to take the pressure of legal cases and, defending my position and having hundreds or thousands of critics and haters because I have a big brand. It's the cost and the consequence. And everyone needing you emotionally, but who's there for you? So I have this little pattern which seems to emerge every, year, 3, 5 years, where I'm like, who's there for me?
Who is?
Well, the reality is my wife is, my business partner is, my MD is, my PA is. But I seem to have this slight martyrdom pattern where it's like, a man's job, the 300, just stand strong, shield held. I don't want to give people my problems. And I think a man's responsibility is to protect his family.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I fucking do. Like I protect a lot of people. I really do. And sometimes I feel like, well, maybe a little bit of give the other way. I bend over backwards to make my wife happy. I bend over backwards to run a great business, to keep my business partner happy. Bend over backwards to make sure I'm always available to my MD and all my staff. We published a show this morning, and the person I interviewed, he didn't like the title, he didn't like the thumbnail. I'm there dealing with it, 5 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night, keeping him happy. I'm, always trying to, I'm there for a lot of people, big time. Fact, the end.
Is it the end though?
Of what?
So you're doing all this for other people, but what are you doing it for yourself?
I think I'm probably still trying to prove myself. I was the fattest kid in my year at school for 2 or 3 years straight. And, the people who are like, oh, well, Rob, you're a nice person. And, you're cuddly. Those kind of caring comments never motivated me to lose weight. You might need to beep this out. I don't normally use this word, but they used to call me a fat cunt. And when I was in the showers playing rugby, age 12, that's what they would call me. And I would hide in the shower in the corner with my face against the wall. And that's what motivated me to lose the weight. So I'm probably still carrying probably now on a weekly basis. I mean, it's 20 years since I started my business. It's 30 years since I went to school with some of these people. But probably now still on a weekly basis, people will come into my life from the old days, from school, from college, from university. And they're like, fucking hell, Rob, you've done well. And it's a nice reminder of where I was, but I never think I'm doing well. I was even just thinking today about my show, Disruptors. We were talking in there about, do you enjoy it? I'm like, yeah, when the views are there, it's good. When the views are there, it's not. And I'm thinking, we've been doing this 9 years, 10-year anniversary. I should be doing more and better. So I'm like, I suppose I am a bit of a sadist in terms of I beat myself up a lot. And maybe that's why maybe it's a bit self-induced as to why I feel alone. But I know it's not common for entrepreneurs. So I just want to say the message, which is you probably do feel quite alone as an entrepreneur at times, especially if you're starting the thing and you're trying to balance being a good mum or dad and staying fit and healthy and, and paying all the bills, and everything comes back to you. And I know this. I can't be a victim and go, why won't people help me? I just have to ask for help. I used to have a therapist. Get her back on the go. Give her 1,500 quid and go, wah, for a few sessions.
Do you have to give them 1,500 quid, or do you have to learn to accept the help? Because I think, and I could be wrong, with you, there's a lot more than that child that was bullied. And it's a lot deeper than what you've just told me.
Well, I mean, when I was 3 or 2, whatever age you are when you're still in a cot, and my therapist found this out. I don't know if it was helpful, but she found it out. But she was like, Rob, you were alone a lot as a child. And it's, by the way, my mum and my dad did a fucking great job. Honestly, nothing but love for them. So this is no way in criticism of them. They really self-sacrificed to raise me and my sister. But because my mum and dad worked in pubs all day, every day, and that's a very unsociable job. You know, my dad had to get up at 6 a.m., put the beef in the oven, because he had a mad busy pub. So like they'd finish at 3 a.m, they'd have lock-ins when you weren't supposed to. Mm-hmm. And then you tidy up in the morning because you're just fucking knackered at 3 o'clock. They were probably pissed as well because that's the social thing. And dad's getting up at 6, and then he's going to bed at 3. And so dad would sleep in the afternoons. So, you know, mum didn't have 2 hours to rock me and kiss me and hug me and sing to me, put me to bed. She just lobbed me in the cot and go downstairs. And like, I actually feel really grateful for that because I was wildly independent age 5 and 6. Yeah. I could cook age 6. I could, like, everything that kids couldn't do, even at college and university, because they'd been protected by their parents. I could do everything. But I was left alone a lot. So I have this trigger where it can catch me, where I can feel very lonely. And I can feel lonely in front of a lot. I can feel lonely on a stage in front of 1,000 people doing a talk. Or I can feel lonely in here in front of you guys. Or I can feel lonely in a board meeting. It's not just when I'm alone. But I also know, because what that did was that created that, and my dad being a wildly strong character, created people-pleasing, conflict-avoiding behaviours in me. I've learned this about myself. But the upside of that is I give a fuck. And I fix problems for people all the time. And I give a lot to a lot of people. There's so many things I do that I don't even talk about because I don't really want people to think that it's marketing. I just met a friend recently and I remembered that his son was like 4 or 5. He had a bleed on the brain. So I just paid to get his son back from Zambia to the UK to have his emergency operation. He was supposed to die and you think he's 14 now, 10 years on, and he's still alive. And, my sister needed an emergency kidney removal and I paid for it. And I do all these things behind the scenes, and I guess it's because ultimately I want to please people. And I guess it helps me avoid feeling alone. But like a man's job sometimes is to feel alone. And a man's job sometimes is to protect everyone else from what's going on in the world. And if we've got a big legal case or that you're having cash flow issues, business is great at the moment, but we've had them in the past. My job isn't to just leak all of those problems on in the team. My job is to stand strong and protect the team from that. My job is to protect my kids and my wife and my family from everything. That is my job as a man. It's just not easy sometimes. No,
there's a lot to unpack within that, and it's where do I start?
It's up to you. It's your show. Start on the next level.
I want to know the truth about you and about something you've never said out loud before. Because I truly believe that it's something deep rooted inside of you. There's something.
I don't know how much deeper you can go.
No, it's not deeper. But I
you got me back to when I was 2.
No.
You got me in the showers naked. No. The fattest kid in the showers.
I truly believe
he should be a therapist. Does he do this to you?
I truly believe that there's something like you're saying about emotion, but then you then talk about business and relate it back to that.
That's because it's part of my identity.
It is now.
Yeah.
But you say it is.
No, but I say it is. Yeah, it is.
But now.
It is now, yeah. But it probably has been since age 6 when my dad raised me and got me working in the pub and got me emptying the fruit machines and the pool tables, got me hustling, playing pool for money, beating all the customers age 8. Like,
how does that make you feel?
I loved it. I fucking hated school, but I loved, imagine being 8 years old, being able to play pool and beat adults. And it's 11 o'clock at night when all your friends are in bed and you're playing pool hustling the customers. Fucking loved it.
I'm going to talk about your dad. You know, I like to do a bit of research. I understand it's a bit of a delicate situation at the moment with how things are. What would you say to your dad at the moment that you haven't said already? Is there anything you would say to him that you haven't publicly said?
I mean, maybe I love you. I find those, no, I don't find those difficult to say, actually. I say that a lot. I find it hard to say, but I say it. But I don't know if my dad's ever said those words to me, but he did when I was a young boy. I remember this day and things fucking changed. I've never said this. It doesn't seem big, but it is. But I remember my dad used to kiss me on the forehead. And then one day he said, son, we don't do that anymore. We don't do kisses. We shake hands. And I don't know how old I was, but I was young, and he shook my hand and he taught me how to shake a hand. And I don't know if he's ever said, I love you since then. He probably hasn't. And I remember loving it being taught by my dad. I'm like, shit, like we don't do kisses, we shake hands. I remember thinking, this is fucking great. I feel like a man, dad. Yeah, so he's been in hospital 2 or 3 weeks ago. Everyone thought he was going to die. Yeah, he's there. Yeah. So, yeah, that would be what I would say. I love you, and probably would be nice to hear him say it. But he doesn't need to say it. I know my dad.
What's the hardest truth you've had to find out or face about him?
Well, 3 weeks ago, the doctors were basically slightly encouraging us to take Dad home, rack up the morphine and let him go. And I wasn't in the conversation with the doctors. My mum and my sister was. My sister was obviously really upset. And I wasn't sure that was right. Anyway, so I spent a day or two like facing the death of my dad. I remember Andrew Tate said to me, he said, you're not a man until your dad dies. And I remember being quite triggered by that, because my wife says to me, look, this kind of man that people like Andrew talk about, that's not necessarily what a man is. I think you're a man, and some of these alpha males, I don't think that's what a man is. So I think she sees this maybe more, I don't know, kinder, less selfish, I don't know, whatever you might say, as more of a man quality than being an alpha or now a sigma. I mean, those words make me sick in my mouth. And by the way, I'm not saying Andrew says those words, but he said to me, you're not a man until your dad died. What he actually meant was, I wasn't a man until my dad died. And then he projected out in his style. But I remember being really fucking triggered, thinking, wait a minute, if we think of what the qualities of a man are, a modern man, I think I've ticked most of the fucking boxes. And I've got someone who sort of knows me but doesn't saying that. But he wasn't talking to me, really. He was talking about himself. But I remember facing my dad's death when it looked like it might be time. And I remember thinking, okay, yeah, I can probably resonate with what Andrew was saying. This is going to be a different experience for me, and I'm going to have to let go of certain things and face certain things. I mean, there's one thing I know for a fact. There is nothing more I could do to make my dad proud. And I was chasing making him proud for about 15 years of being an entrepreneur. And like, that I've let go. Like, I don't need to do anything more to make him feel proud. Yeah.
So what's the biggest battle that you're facing at the moment in your personal life, not business?
Well, it's difficult to separate the two because it's what I do all day, every day.
All right. I'm related to money.
You still can't. My business is not just about money.
No, I know it isn't. But you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you.
Yeah. So I get up at between 3 and 5 a.m. and I start work. And I don't use social media to consume or watch entertainment. It's brand. This, even though it's not work, it's still work. So I'm not avoiding your question. But like this work-life balance is like, if you're entrepreneurial, if you're empire buildery, you know, if you want to turn your passion into your profession, if you want a mission, then all this bollocks about work-life balance, you have to let it go. I don't work on life balance. I just do life, and it's all in. This is fun to do, but we're still going to publish it, and we're still going to want to get views, and you might even promote me at the end, and there might even be an ad on it. You know, so you know, like trying to separate them, it's not like. So what is my? I'll try and delayer it for you because it is layered. So my biggest challenge right now is I want to help as many people on this planet get better financial knowledge, and I am hungry to help 1 billion people and 10 or 100 million kids. Either through my foundation or Money.School for Kids, the series that we're doing in an hour. And I will not stop until, you know, I've got 3.5, 4 million followers, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. I will not stop. And at the moment, the government are in my way. The school system is fucked. The banking system is, you know, a for-profit corporation, not a public service. So all these things are in my way, and I need to get them out of my way. So that is my daily mission.
What if something stops you before?
Before what?
You get to the end.
Well, if something stops me before I get to the end, then it's the end.
Is there an ongoing battle? That's my question. My question is there a battle in your personal life that you haven't publicly said that's going on at the moment with you that you're trying to, that's the main reason that you're trying to actually get the help out to all of these people?
No, because I've been doing this for nearly 20 years. So my mission to help as many people on the planet get better financial education was a mission I created nearly 10 years ago. That's why I don't just talk about property anymore. Because as you know, my history is property. I built a big property portfolio, built the UK's largest property training company. You know, our mission then was to help as many people on the planet invest for freedom, choice and profit. But I realised, you know, a kid age 14 who doesn't know how to budget is not going to build a property empire. You know, or a 37-year-old mum of 3 kids who's really struggling isn't going to be able to build a property empire. But learn to store rather than save, get your money out of the banking system, understand where you could start with investing in assets, understanding the 12 fundamental laws of money and wealth building. And all these things are relevant. So my mission became much wider and more broad. The only thing that will stop me will be death. But by the time I die, there will be people to take over what I do. Money.School used to be called Rob.Team. It's now Money.School. If I don't get out of this room and I die, Money.School will keep going. So nothing can stop me, not even my own death. Personally, like there's always a battle. You're battling laziness. Every day you're tired. You know, like I fucking work a lot, so I battle tiredness. I work out when I don't want to work out. You know, I speak in front of hundreds of people like I will today when I don't feel like it, or I've got some shit going on. Yeah, but you know, I've not been like abused. I've not got anything like so many people have had it much harder and more brutal than I have. You know, think of these these grooming gangs that are happening around the UK, and these like poor, innocent girl victims. And if I'm ever like, oh, this is hard for me, I just think of someone like that. And I shut the fuck up and I get on with it. Or if I think I'm a bit overwhelmed, just think, well, Elon Musk, he runs $5 billion companies and he's got 12 kids. It's like, and I think I'm a bit busy, because that's the only solution for a man when we're doing our job as a man. You know, I take it seriously, my job, to my business partner and I. He manages our portfolio of properties. Mm-hmm. We're currently buying a big deal at the moment. I manage all of our businesses. That's my responsibility. And, my kids are in private school. That's my responsibility. My wife doesn't work. That's my responsibility. And my parents, they need my help and finances. That's my responsibility. And so sometimes, you feel shit. And just fucking get on with it.
At what cost to your, again, I'm going to touch on it because it's hit me, the personal cost to being like a dad and being a partner. At what cost does that come to you?
I mean, I think I've got a pretty fucking great life. Yeah, my problems are, someone in a Toyota Yaris reversed into my Aston Martin DBS, and I can't claim on her insurance, so I've got to spend 350 quid repairing or maybe even $5,000, whatever it is, repairing my car myself. Or, we got to, my kids are healthy. Like, my daughter's just started playing rugby, fucking so good. So, my daughter's like quite a fiery one. She's not the biggest or the strongest kid, but she loves a ruck. And she was like, Daddy, can we play rugby in the garden? And she would run at me and then stop and try and dance around me. And I said, don't do that. Just fucking run straight through me. Anyway, they had a match the next week. And she got past the ball and she fucking just ran straight through two much bigger girls and scored a try. like, at what cost? The cost to me to live my life is I don't get away with being lazy. I sometimes have to do things I don't want to do. I sometimes have to feel lonely. I have to pay a lot of money out to other people. But that is a cost where, I have, as you know, because I'm quite outspoken, I've got a big following. There's thousands of people out there who you could say are haters, but they don't hate me. They just hate their own selves. They just get triggered by what lacks in them. Because any busy, successful person I know ain't spending time online hating on other people. And I'm sympathetic to that. So that's not a cost to me. That is the price you pay. There's always a cost.
Yeah. Have you ever felt unseen due to what you're trying to achieve? And I mean by your wife, your kids?
Yeah, sometimes. But you can't blame a kid for not seeing you, because a kid is inherently selfish and it doesn't have the awareness.
No.
Sometimes I say to my wife, my son and daughter don't really seem to appreciate me. And she reminds me, they're children. Children are selfish. So I sometimes don't feel seen by my kids. Sometimes maybe I don't feel seen by my wife, but my wife is raising our kids. So sometimes. And so here's what the universe does that's funny. If I don't feel seen at home, then a lot of my fans will see me. So for example, this watch. This is a one-of-one unique watch that got made for me by a British watch brand. So someone who owns a very established, successful British watch brand took the time to make me a bespoke Disruptors one-of-one unique timepiece with my name and the show engraved in it and the Disruptors logo there, and I don't know what it's worth, many thousands of pounds. How can I not feel seen? I remember John DeMartini, he taught me. He said, if you're proud at work, you'll be humbleized by your wife at home. If you are humbleized outside in the world, your wife will lift you up and make you feel proud. It's how the universe works. And he was fucking right about that. Like if I get a bit, check me out, immediate humbleization by wife and children. If I'm struggling out there, immediate support. It's the nature of the universe, apparently. Are you married or are you just together?
Together.
Okay.
5 kids between.
Right. I bet if you're a cocky twat, you're going to get told. I bet if you're struggling, you're going to get helped. It's the nature.
True.
True. It's just been verified.
Yeah. But she always feels seen, so I'm told. And so do I.
I challenge you on that. I don't think it's possible to always feel something. Because every single one of us has different values. So we're all living in our own value system. So that I feel warm that you said that there's that connection, but no one's a perfect human.
No, I agree with it.
And so overall, I think there's a sense, my PA dropped me off and she was like, oh, Gemma, my wife, she's just so lovely. And she's great. You probably couldn't create a more perfect partner, but her highest values are the kids. My highest value is my mission. So naturally at times there's going to be conflict or avoidance of conflict or feeling unseen. If I'm always on a mission, she'll feel unseen. If she's always looking after the kids, I'll feel unseen. It's natural at times.
And then how do you come back together?
Well, I think the way that I'm not a relationship expert, just like to let you know this, but I believe this to be true. And you're asking me on your show. I believe the way that you connect with the person that you're with is you meet their highest values. So I know my wife loves it when I'm very attentive to the children because the children are highest on her values. And then that's a way to connect with her. If I came home and she went, do you know what, Rob? This last 20 years, you've been a fucking warrior. What you've done for her. I mean, I'm sort of like, I feel emotional and slightly aroused at the same time. So Rob, you're a warrior. For 20 years, you've been fighting and protecting, thank you. I'd be like, what? Because that's my highest value. So that's, I believe, how you create deep connection. But because we're in our own values, we want our own values met. Now, it's easier if you've got similar values, because naturally you being you is like them. This is the third time I've been on your show, and we get on well because we have a similar vision of how a podcast should be. But if I was clammed up and PR-ish and wouldn't let you in and wouldn't answer the question and blah, 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 you wouldn't want to do it. So, and by the way, anyone that you want a good connection with, and it can be employer to employee, it can be parent to child, husband to wife, wife to husband, anything, is by understanding their highest values and meeting those values, but living your own at the same time. Because if I meet my wife's values and negate my own, I'm repressing myself. If I meet my values and not her, I'm the aggressor and aggressing myself onto her and she'll be repressing herself. So the art of relationing, and I say that because it's not just relationships, it's all, I know that my senior team, if I know their highest values and I meet their highest values, they're going to be happy at work here. And they will leave if they're, sometimes people say, oh, I just want people to be loyal to me. Oh, there's no loyalty in the world. People aren't loyal to you. They're loyal to their highest values. I'm sorry to say this, but if you started abusing your kid, she's gone. And she should be. You would never do that. But, if you challenge her highest values enough, gone. If you meet her highest values enough, deep connection and love and loyalty. And we get selfish. Well, but I wouldn't expect you to be loyal to me. I might afterwards think, well, you asked some questions then. Why don't we just talk about business and money? Because you have your goal. I have my goal. So here's the funny thing. The world would be so much a better place if we just took a little time to care about the highest values of others and learn them, instead of expecting people to be loyal to us.
I agree.
I'm not sponsored by Dash. I should be, though, just in case they're watching. I fucking drink so many of these.
No, I agree with a lot of what you said. What do you think? Do you agree?
Oh, I'm put on the spot now. Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. And what I would say to you, Lewis, is I think at the times where I've felt the most seen, that's when you have been the most lost. Like, you know, when
That's interesting.
When I felt that my needs have been met wholly, your needs have been neglected, and then that in itself has turned around and affected us. So
What Georgia's helped me with, she's very articulate and I'm not. But what I do, as you
That's
know,
why you're a good interviewer. Because you don't speak too much. Yeah.
that's exactly why.
I didn't do it. But
Yeah, because you'd want to speak too much. Yeah. But that's really good to be that self-aware. You are articulate. You're not fair on yourself. You are articulate because sometimes not saying much and giving people space is being articulate. I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean.
But
it's a huge skill.
it is. I mean, I do both. I'm interviewed and I interview. Most people who interview are shit at interviewing because they talk too much.
Yeah.
You don't.
I like to create a space to then think about, like you've mentioned so much that I want to cover. For example, the Tates. There's loads of stuff. So
well,
again,
we've got 47 minutes, so we can. But I want to pick up on something you said because I think it's really.
It is important.
You said when he's the most lost, you feel the most seen. I have this theory that when we are in pain, the best way to get out of that pain is to help other people.
Yeah.
Because I've had times in my life when I've felt in pain, and you get very selfish when you're in pain. Oh, my pain, my problems, I need them to go away. Why won't you just help me? But as soon as you start helping people, it relieves your own pain. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a reason why when you get that connection back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when would you say, does that come back to emotional security and safety?
Well, right, that is a big question because I can unlock that. I remember John DeMartini, who's been one of my mentors, basically said that everything exists in a paradox, i.e. everything has equal upside and downside and is an existing contradiction. And safety is one of them. I understand that women really, really deep down want safety. And as soon as you give them 100% safety, they're bored. You're not a proper man. They also, I'm sorry to be they-ness, but women also need to be challenged. If they feel so safe, they take you for granted. That's the fucking start of the end.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a yes.
But we have...
So safety and security is a paradox. Mm-hmm. We need to give it and offer it as a man. And I feel proud that I'm able to do that, and I'm sure you do too. But we also need to just challenge and nudge and wait a minute. Otherwise, it's too safe. It's taken for granted.
I think everything in life is that light and shade, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think that's something that I think getting a little bit older I've learned. There is absolutely nothing positive that comes without a negative.
No, there isn't. And, most people actually experience pain in a fantasy delusion. So, imagine you're stoic and you're expecting things to be hard and they're hard. You're fine. Imagine that you're a fantasist and you're expecting everything to be amazing and they're not quite. Imagine someone who wants the perfect wedding. You know those people, and nothing is ever perfect in a wedding. And instead of just embracing the imperfections, it's just spend the whole fucking day being stressed, and it's not the perfect wedding. So as soon as you go into the deluded fantasy that you can have all upside without downside, you get the downside to teach you the lesson. There is no light without shade. There is no, an easy decision now is a hard decision later.
Yeah.
A sacrifice now is a reward later. A reward now is hard later. Just think eat healthy food, sacrifice in the moment, good later. Eat shit food, feel good now, shit later. business, investing. If you make sacrifices now and invest well and just cut your spending a bit and, live a couple or 3 years of maybe not overspending, you're going to be rewarded for the rest of your life. So there is no light without shade. This is why some of your questions I was answering where I'm pretty happy because I understand the cost and consequences of the life I've chosen. Because the upside of my job is no one can fire me. So that's never going to happen. Not even I'm actually pretty uncancelable now. I've had a few bans on a few channels. Because I'm on most channels and I run my own business, I've interviewed loads of people like Dan Wootton got completely cancelled. Lawrence Fox got completely cancelled. And they were earning high 6 figures and then earning nothing. Like, fucking hell, Rob, what do I do? And I'm thinking, no one can ever take that away from me because of what I've built. So how could I in any way not be grateful for that? And okay, if I'm a bit lonely and things are a bit hard and I'm a bit unseen, well, I'll take it.
Is there like a coping mechanism or an addiction that's running part of your life that you just can't let go of or you're struggling to let go of?
Well, I think we're all coping. And I think we're all addicted.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because I think that's how the brain works. My biggest addiction is business. If I'm feeling a bit emotionally vulnerable, I'll work. If I'm having some challenges somewhere, I'll work. If there's something I want to avoid, I'll avoid it by working. I've learned to like that about myself, and I think that's the most healthy addiction you can have. Of course, there's going to be consequences, but I've blended my life so I can work anywhere. At the drop of a hat, when Dad was in hospital, I'm there every day. And, whatever my kids are doing, I can go see them. Whatever my wife needs, I can do it. So I've created an environment where, okay, I'm probably working at, I'm quite fortunate. My wife likes her own independence and space. She likes to be alone. And I probably wouldn't be the right guy for a needy woman who needs all my time. That probably wouldn't work. She needs a singer-songwriter, solo guitar player. Does gigs in the evening, can spend all day loving on her. I can't do that. We've got 10 minutes love and then I've got a meeting. So, but... I'm also told by my wife, and many women say this, that ambition is very attractive. Mm-hmm. So, back to this safety thing. Oh, you want to be safe and secure and you want me to spend lots of time with you. Oh, but you also love my ambition. So are you going to let me go and be ambitious? Or are you just going to want me at home all day, every day, making you feel safe and protected? This is why in the world of men and women and relating, I don't like the polarity where they say, what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman. I mean, look, I think, there's male, female, that's just been ruled in court now. If you are biologically, you are a man or a woman. But other than that, there's this very divisive narrative that's going on. And often, what a man is or a toxic man is kind of disrespectful to a woman. And also, there's a lot of shaming around women about what it is to be a man. And so it's, I think, wrong to separate the conversation.
Would you say you've got any unhealthy addictions?
No, I don't think so. I mean, for something to be unhealthy, I'd have to either be ill, pretty chronically stressed, going bust. For something to be unhealthy, there would need to be a consequence. We're not going bust. Money's pretty good. Obviously, I get stressed, but if you look at me and feel my energy, you probably wouldn't say, fucking hell, Rob's going to be in hospital soon with this chronic levels of stress. So no, I wouldn't say that I've got any that are unhealthy. I've got ones that trigger me.
What are they?
Well, like the feeling of being unseen or unnoticed or unvalued, which we've already covered. The fact that my highest value is mission and my wife's highest value is the kids. So sometimes I can feel unconnected. It's not her, that's me. And I suppose I'm still there's a part of me that knows that if it all ended today, I've had a good go. But there's also a big part of me that still needs to do a lot more, needs to prove a lot more, needs to achieve a lot more.
So if we stripped all of this away, the podcast, the businesses, who is Rob?
I mean, if you stripped everything away, I am just life, because there is just life. Like if you're asking me to strip away everything I am, I just am.
What would you be?
I would just be, because you're asking me to strip away the identity of who and what I am. So when you do that, all that's left is what is.
And what would be your new identity?
Well, there is no identity. That would be stripping me of my identity and then asking me to create a new identity.
And that's what I'm asking, what it would be.
Well, then I'd have to be born again. I've never really thought what it would be like to be anything other than what I am. Because why would I? I don't feel the desire. I am on mission, and I know that what I am doing is what I am meant to do. And I'm very clear about that. And of course that has downsides. Of course, I've mentioned some of them. But like, so many people think about giving up all the time. I never think about giving up on my mission. Never. I have never, in the last 20 years, there has not been a nanosecond where I've thought, oh, fuck, this is too much. I've got to give it in. There's been times where I've thought it's hard, but the harder it's got, the more stubborn I've got to dig in. You know, the more the country lock us down, the more I fucking rant about how wrong it is. Look, of course, I've wanted to give up things like playing the drums or just other things I do in my life, but never, like, I will never give up my mission. So I don't really know how to answer the question of being anything other than that. And like, as I think about that, it's very powerful, because this isn't bravado, but I am unbreakable in my mission. I had a chat with Andrew and Tristan. I was over their house in Romania when they'd got released from prison, and both Tristan and Andrew, they were sat either side of me, and they basically both asked me the same question. And they said something along the lines of, Rob, for £100 million or £1 billion, or to fight your cause, would you go to a Romanian jail for 90 days? And I immediately said yes. Easy decision. You know, I'd pay the price. I don't want to, just in case you... I don't want to. And I think all of us, you know, you can have that mission as a parent to raise your children. Mm-hmm. You can have that mission as a podcaster. You can have that mission as a hairdresser. But I think it's really powerful when you connect into the mission. Like, there's nothing or no one.
So I knew that you stayed there. And obviously I've got some questions around that. Again, research is powerful.
Yeah.
What did you speak about? What deals were done? How did it impact you? What positives did you take away from that?
Okay, so we did a deal, and I can't tell you about that. And I know that's going to upset you greatly, but...
no, not really. It was just... Yeah. To be honest, that one was for the viewers. Yeah. For me personally, I want to know more so how the influence of what is going on in the world with them has impacted you.
Okay, so how's it impacted me?
The deals are relevant to me.
I respect and admire their brotherly connection. I don't have a brother.
That's interesting.
And they're probably the first people I've ever seen that have made me think, would have been cool to have a brother. I've never really thought about it till then, because I've got 3 sisters and I'm happy. But looking at them, they're really different. I know them intimately well. I'm not saying I'm their best friend, but for a fact, I know them intimately well, more than most people, and there's a reason for that. And I really admire, you know, Tristan said that, look, I realised I probably wouldn't have gone to jail if it wasn't for Andrew, but what kind of brother would I have been if I didn't? And in fact, quite enjoyed it. And I'd do it again. And, you know, that's like that. I think I really admire that as a brotherly quality. I like to think that, you know, Mark, my business partner, who I see more than just as a business partner, if he went down, I'm going down with him.
Would he go down for you?
Well, you'd have to ask him that. He probably wouldn't ever go down because he's so careful and secure. No, I don't think anyone could ever take him down. He's too elusive. He's too smart.
But do you believe he would?
Well, I think people will go down with you if it serves their values.
Would Mark?
If it served his values.
Do you believe it would?
I like to think yes. I mean, Mark has proven to me many times that he can act very selflessly. When we first started business together and I was broke, he's like, look, Rob, every time we go out, I'll pay for it. And he was supporting me. Now, he was getting benefit. He wouldn't have supported me if I was giving him no value, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So he was getting value. This is my point. But he supported me and he didn't have to. So it was a fair exchange. You know, the concept of fair exchange. So Mark was paying for all of our drinks and dinners out. I was better than him with the women back then when we were both single. I'm not saying I was great, but you know, in the world of the blind, the man with the one eye, he wins. And I had one eye and I was a bit better than him, you know, talking to girls. Actually, I introduced him and us to a group of girls. He's now married to one of them. So I'm sure he'll remember that. So Mark was supporting me financially. The first like dozen odd properties we bought, he put all the money in. But he got half the profit and he had it securitized. So he was helping me, but I was providing value, but he was getting benefit as well. Now, Tristan went to prison for Andrew also because he's the beneficiary of probably about £1 billion that's mostly thanks to the risk Andrew takes. Because Tristan doesn't take the same risk with his brand. Tristan's a little bit more gentlemanly in the way he talks, and he's not quite as bold or as brutal or as risk-taking. So I have the understanding of how the universe works. And by the way, as a quick random tip, I believe in life, you will struggle the most in life if you don't understand how the universe works. And you will dance with life, because if you resist the universe, you lose. It's like you're a white belt trying to do jiu-jitsu with a fifth dan. No matter what, you roll around, you're never going to beat that guy. So you have to learn from that guy. You have to roll with that guy. And so, you know, I know how the universe works. I'm not fully, but I know that humans are not loyal to other people. They are loyal to their own values. Now, if you want loyalty from people, which we all do, you have to meet their own values. And if you meet their values and you get your values met, that's called connection. That's called relationships. That's called partnerships. Now, sometimes that's connected by blood, like a brother, which is obviously a lot stronger. But also, sometimes you can be connected so strongly with someone who you don't have any blood relation with. So, would Mark go down with me if he got personal benefit and his values were being met? Yeah. But what he'd probably do is go, Rob, let's get a lawyer, shut the fuck up for a month, go and hide and I'll fix this problem. That's probably what he would do. And if I thought that was a good solution, that's what I'd do. So back to your question on Andrew and Tristan, and what my thoughts are about them and what was said when I talked to them. You know, I want to respect the fact that some discussions you have with people are private. And I want to be that guy that can be trusted, because I have a bit of a loose mouth at times. So I really admire their brotherly connection, which I didn't really realize was a thing and didn't really know I might like in my life until I saw it intimately with them, which I have. So that's one. Andrew and Tristan, there is no crack in the armour of their belief that they are innocent. And Andrew will not shut the fuck up about what he believes, no matter what they do. You know, I did think after his initial release from prison, his brand might soften. Fucking hell, some of the stuff I've seen, he's doubling down. Like on my second show, he basically went, arrest me, come and get me.
So, can I just ask, how much do your values align with his?
Yeah. So just for the avoidance of doubt,
Could I have another one of these, Kelsey? Have we got one in the fridge?
my questions around Andrew and Tristan isn't necessarily for my benefit. It's for you, if that makes sense. It gives me a better understanding of you.
Yeah.
And how that's impacted
Thank
you and your relationships moving forward with maybe your daughter, for example. And again, from what the question Georgia said. So, yeah, I don't want to...
You don't have to explain yourself to me, as you know.
No, I know that, but if the viewers are thinking, oh, yeah, it might be like he wants clickbait. Absolutely not.
Well, most people don't know what clickbait is anyway. They get it wrong. Isn't it ironic that people call what you create clickbait, but they just clicked? Wanker. And what clickbait is, do you know how clickbait came about? It came about when you'd get drawn in to click something and it would be porn. Because that was the only way they'd be able to get you in, because they couldn't show you nude images. And what clickbait actually is I tell you X, but when you click, it's not X, it's Y. So any title I put up or you put up, it's not clickbait.
No.
Because that's not what clickbait is. But people just don't understand it. And you fucking clicked. You're like, duh. Like, come on. So it worked. So I'm going to do it again. It really amuses me when people get fucking so wildly pissed off about my content and they comment on it. What's the algorithm going to do? Show you another one. Show you. I've got this guy on LinkedIn. He's called Dick Salmon. That's actually his name, which is quite fucking ironic. And he fucking hates me. And he keeps telling me how much he hates me. And he keeps disagreeing with me. And he just keeps seeing more of my shit. I fucking love him. I love him. Dick Salmon, I love you. But if you really don't like me, just stop clicking on the clickbait. Stop commenting on it. But anyway, he's really good for my algorithmic reach. And now he's maybe semi-famous.
And obviously this is going to go back out to him. So what's it called?
His name is Dick Salmon. And he loves to disagree with me. But
and if you are interested, go to money.school.
yeah, exactly.
What was your question?
Yeah, so you were talking about clickbait. Like, the only clickbait that's clickbait is if what you click through to isn't what it said. So yeah, you were talking about Andrew.
Yeah, no, go on, sorry.
No, you've been talking a lot about values and aligning values, and I just wondered, because I don't know an awful lot about Andrew Tate. I've heard things, I see things, but I'm wondering how far your values align.
Well, I can answer this quite easily. I don't fully understand Andrew Tate's values. I can observe his behaviour. Now, there are ways to understand someone's values, and by the way, it's very useful to know someone's values. And if I said to you before we started, what's the most important thing to you in doing this podcast? I would get insight into your values, because our values are the things that are most important to us. And it's the North Star guiding light of our life. And words are words. Now, I don't know if you've ever talked to people and you sometimes think, well, they're saying X, but they're doing Y. And I don't really, like, as I've got older, I've seen more and more people talk the game, but in reality, this is what they are. So I look less at words and more at how are they behaving. So I haven't asked Andrew what's most important to him in his life, which if I wanted to find out his values, I would, and I could find that out. Observing him, I think it's important for him to influence the masses on what it is to be a man in his perception. I think it's very important for him to be seen and noticed, because he's very opulent and showy with his wealth. You know, there are some people who are billionaires that don't want you to see them. They're understated. There's no brands. They don't even want that. So some people don't want to be seen. Now, I know what it's like to want to be seen, because, as you know, I wanted to be seen. Here's the thing now, I look at some of the old clothes I've got, you know, with branding on. and I dislike it because I look at that and go, oh, I know why I bought Gucci Armani, because I wanted to be seen. Now I just wear a brand and it's not got a label because I'm more comfortable with who I am and I don't need to be seen as much. That's not right or wrong. But, you know, when I was with Andrew and Tristan, they were just telling me about all the new cars they were buying and all the new houses they were buying around the world, which I really enjoyed. I'm not judging them. Because actually a great gift is to not judge. And as soon as you judge, you project yourself. So I think it's really important to Andrew to get his message out to the world and change what it is to be the definition of a man and be seen doing it and have a fight doing it. Andrew Tate believes that life is war. He really does. And when you know his childhood and you know how his dad raised him, you know that to be true. So Andrew wants a fight with everyone. So that's not to say he wants to knock him out in the ring. No. Like he goes on a podcast with someone he likes. Like when I interviewed him the second time, it's like, Rob, I want you to bring it all. He wanted a fight on a podcast. You know, we're still friends, but like he wants a fight because he says life is war. Now, of course, people are going to get triggered if they don't think life is war, because there's some people whose highest value is peace. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be conflict there. So yeah, there are a couple of things I think are probably important to Andrew. Reading from the outside in without having asked him.
I mean, you got any more questions about that?
No. It's interesting to hear. It's made me think a little bit because, yeah.
You know, Andrew thinks pain is good, anger is good, shame is good.
What do you think?
Well, I think it's motivating. Like shame helped me lose my weight, didn't it? Not saying, oh, Rob, don't worry, you're just cuddly.
It did, but I think it's a it's something that's, again, deep-rooted in to get you to where you want to be, but it's something that's not been previously dealt with that's stemmed from early on.
Well, what did we say earlier? There is no upside without downside, no light without dark.
Absolutely.
So as a man, I think, I can't speak for a woman, but from the women I know, they don't get that triggered by shame, and the ones that do seem to have a more masculine energy. So it seems to be the most brutal, like, as I think about it now, what's the most brutal emotion? Shame. What's the most what gets you down the gym? Shame.
Yeah.
So it's like, what I try to do in my life is face, things are going to be hard. You're going to feel shame. You're going to feel guilt. You're going to get angry. So if you're going to, try and use them as a tool. Mm-hmm. And that's what Andrew believes. He says, fuck happy, be wary of happy people. I don't want any happy men around me. When men make jokes, they're weak. Now there's truth to that I didn't necessarily see before those kind of things. But a lot of people who become comedians, they're fucking suicidal. They end up committing suicide, don't they? That's a known fact. Yeah. So everything upside and downside. But yeah, Andrew literally thinks that the purpose of a man is not to be happy. Like, I do not trust happy men.
And but having a relationship with, not just him, but having the relationships you've got with people like Andrew, and it's a very general and a loose term, has it had a negative impact on personal relationships or business relationships?
No. Not for me. I've associated... Here's the thing, right? All I did was fucking interview them. So if anyone's going to go, oh, Rob Moore, he's associated with Andrew Tate, because I interviewed them on an interview show, that's their fucking problem, not mine. Because I also interviewed David Icke, I also interviewed Katie Hopkins. And like, if anyone watches this and goes, Lewis believes everything that Rob's believes, then they're an idiot. Because you believe what you believe and I believe what I believe. And just because if I said something controversial, it doesn't mean you believe it. You're just interviewing me. So if someone cannot see the distinction and difference, that is their problem, not mine. Now, what a lot of people do, and sometimes some people in my organisation are a bit worried about the consequence. But what's the consequence of not interviewing Andrew Tate? Well, I'd have lost about 50 million views. I've got some of my staff that work for me that are really good, that only found out about us in Peterborough because they saw the interview with Andrew Tate. So, upside, downside. So, my association with anyone is just an association. And I am myself, and I have my own brand, and I have my own identity. And if people can't separate that, well then, that's on them. It's like, you know, in lockdown, let's role play. I'm against the vaccine, you're pro the vaccine. And there were people who'd been friends for 30 years, and because you're pro the vaccine, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Like, I disown you as a friend. They literally disown friends of 30 years because you're pro and I'm anti. What the fuck? Like, that does not change who you are or the 30 years. It just means you have a different view of what you should put in your body. Like, if we're friends, which I, you know, believe that we are, I'm never going to disown you because you had Katie Hopkins on. Or I'm never going to disown you because you chose to have the vaccine. Like, that would make me the idiot.
But the reason I asked that question is it made me observe, like you've just said, your values.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
And it's just a way of me doing it.
I'm going to do my absolute best not to judge anyone. Why? Because as soon as I judge, the only way I can judge is if I'm perfect. And I ain't perfect. Mm-hmm. So I notice this about myself. If I judge, well, take a look in the mirror. I mean, it's in the Bible. So that's number one. And then number two, if I'm judging, okay, what am I vulnerable and insecure about myself? Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't judge Andrew or Tristan. There's many things about them I really like. Obviously, I'm taking a risk associating just by interviewing them on a podcast in case they are actually found guilty of human trafficking and rape. At the moment, I understand that they're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So if you were accused of it and you were innocent until proven guilty, I wouldn't disown you because you're supposed to be innocent because it isn't the Constitution innocent until proven guilty. So, like, what kind of weak person would I be to disown you because you've been accused of something? Like, that would make me... I don't know what that would make me. But, like, if Mark got accused of it, I would stand by him until he got a fair trial. And now Andrew and Tristan can't have a fair trial now because it's been trialed by social media. And they are... Like, you could not have an unbiased jury in that trial. So anyone, even someone who ends up being, once you're convicted, obviously if you're a murderer, you're a murderer. You go to prison. That's fucking fair. But honestly, like, people need to fucking get off their high horse. Like, I try and spend 99% of my time on mission. And anyone who's looking at everyone else and judging everyone else, get a fucking mission. Be busy doing something useful.
Well, I'm going to talk to you about something now that I've got my own opinion on. I know that George has as well. Gary Stevenson. The reason for me bringing him up is because I think it ties into what you're trying to achieve as well.
Yeah.
Where did he come from? That I think it's very relevant. When Labour came in, all of a sudden he's popped up.
Yeah.
So there's an agenda there. I believe.
Yeah.
That's my belief.
Maybe.
What's yours?
Like, could Gary Stevenson be an agent of Labour or the left? He could be. Do I have any proof? No.
Neither do I.
No. So I don't want to be litigious or that's not the word. I don't want to defame.
No.
Because I don't know that for a fact. But the timing is a coincidence. I'm grateful that Gary Stevenson is out there running his mouth off because it gives me more of a platform or a leverage or an energy or an emotion to speak what I believe. Mm-hmm. Do I think that he should be cancelled or shut down or silenced? No. I think he should have a voice. Do I agree with him? No. Do I think he's misguided? Yes. Do I think we should tax the rich more? No, we're already taxing the rich too much. All the millionaires are leaving. Millionaires don't leave because they're not paying tax. Millionaires leave because they're paying too much tax here and they can pay more over there. That's fucking common sense. And Gary Stevenson doesn't get it. And Gary Stevenson is promoting a message that if you are broke, you are destined to be broke. You have no chance to be rich unless you're born rich. That is what he has said. To me, that is a dangerous, damaging message to a man, to anyone who wants to earn, and where we are in the state of the economy right now. And that needs to be squashed. And by the way, I had him agreed to be on my show 3 times, and they changed and moved and changed and moved and changed and moved and changed and moved. So the guy doesn't do what he says he's going to do. To be fair, that could be his agent and not him. I don't know if it's getting through to him. But we already tax the rich more. The top 0.1% pay the top 10% of tax. The top 1 pay the top 29% of tax. And the top 10 pay the top 69% of tax. So we already tax the rich more. What we need to do is spend less in government. Why is he not saying that? Why is he attacking the rich? Why? Because it's, well, certainly selling books for him, isn't it? Certainly blowing up on social media, isn't it? How does he make money? He makes money by the people he says he's supporting watching his content. Like, he is taking the piss out of his followers and audience way more than I am. Because he's making his followers and audience angry at the rich, but giving them no solution to do anything about it. Whereas I give all sorts of solutions. Money School is to help as many people on this planet. Well, how is Gary Stevenson teaching people how to be wealthy, how to save money, how to make money, how to get a pay rise, how to be valuable and useful? Is not. So that's my thoughts.
Why is it the way it is? Why aren't we changing that?
The political system where you have first past the post, where essentially you can get way more votes but not be put in power, it supports the incumbents who are already there and makes it really difficult to break in. So at the moment, we have a fake democracy because you can really either only vote Labour or Conservatives, and that's how it's been forever. So I believe we need to get rid of the first past the post system and just have a who gets the most votes system. Now, the people in power, the parties in power are never going to agree to that because it's like Harry carrying yourself. It's like agreeing to your own. It's like, turkeys wanting Christmas. It's never going to happen. But of course, Reform look like they are disrupting that. And that is one of a few reasons why, I'm friends with Nigel. I have sort of more similar views with Nigel than I do with Keir Starmer. So that's why, we've got a lot to do, and I haven't voted yet because it's not time to vote, but I wish Nigel good luck on the local elections. He's probably going to smash them all in the local elections. And even if I didn't agree fully with Nigel, to break the political system where it's only Conservatives or Labour, for me, that's good.
Yeah.
It's like breaking up banking if banking has become a monopoly. However you break it up, you just want to break it up. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the political system is not fit for the modern world, but the people that get benefit from it, either Conservatives or Labour, wouldn't want to change it because it would be the suicide of themselves. And this is the problem. This is the problem with politics, with civil servants, is the right decision is suicide of self. It takes a strong person. So my friend Lawrence Fox, who's controversial, he said, if I won running for mayor, I'd immediately get rid of there being a mayor of London. Now, no one would ever do that because they'd want to be the mayor of London, but he's saying it's wrong. The system is wrong, so if I won, I'd immediately change the system. It takes a strong person to do that. Most people aren't going to do that. It's like the death of yourself.
When we had that referendum, why did people not change the voting system? That's not something that I was a lot younger then. Why did we not vote to change it?
I don't know how you change the voting system. That's just the straight answer. I don't know. The only thing is, if a law's in place, it benefits the incumbents, but doesn't benefit society, but the incumbents have the power, why are they going to change the law? Because that's like commercial suicide to them. It was like all the, I won't say it, the lockdown, the masks, the companies they chose.
Say it.
Just did. I just did.
The AI stuff, what's your views on that?
So my view on AI is it has a light and a dark, like everything else. Now, when we started to produce steel, we had this revolution whereby we laid all the rail tracks. And then we, of course, made all the trains. And how convenient is that to get on a train rather than walk or ride a horse? But then what happened is you had train robberies. You never had train robberies before trains, and you never had trains before steel. And then you have train robberies, and not only train robberies, on the train, the rich people on the train, but now you can rob each town just going on a train. And so AI is the same, whereby the great benefits of AI, like being able to self-diagnose, look after your own health, have your own personal assistant, not need a load of staff, have your own on-hand researcher. This is a great upside. But AI will make you more dumb. Do you remember when you used to, you knew her phone number, you knew your mum's phone number, your dad's phone number, you knew your top 10 friends' phone numbers. If there's in an emergency, you knew 10 phone numbers. But you don't know a phone number now. No. And no one knows a phone number anymore. They can't even remember a phone number because we don't need to. Do you remember when you could read a map? Back at uni, you're driving, your mate's got the map, the A to Z, and you get from like Peterborough to Huddersfield, you don't know how you're going to get there using a map. Now with GPS, no one can read a fucking map. No one's got any sense of direction. This is what's going to happen with AI. The tool is going to be amazing and we're going to become stupid. And unless we, because your brain is a muscle. You need to keep training it. So what I say to people is, for scale and automation and speed, use AI. For connection and for enhancing your brain power, connect with humans. They're my thoughts on AI.
But what if those humans are not willing to accept and embrace AI?
Well, I think we're going to have to, aren't we? I mean, we all embrace the internet. I don't think you have a choice.
No, we don't have a choice. But the people that aren't up to speed, for example, they're not going to understand how in-depth AI is.
No, people are going to get left behind if they don't embrace it. Just like if you can't use the internet, you're left behind. Your quality of life is going to be lower if you can't use these tools.
So can you explain to people the different layers and levels of AI at the moment? Because what you're using it for is completely different to ChatGPT, because most people are just going to open up ChatGPT and just search.
Yeah, well, on the most basic level, AI is like a more advanced search engine and a better assistant than maybe some humans. Not my assistant's brilliant, so not better than her. So that's on the most simple level. I mean, on the most advanced level, we're using it for wars. We use drones and AI for war now, don't we? Mm-hmm. So, you could use AI to create a poison that's more poisonous than any poison. You could use AI to create a cure that cures a disease we've never been able to cure before. I mean, like the extent to which we're using AI with sort of national intelligence and through like the Home Secretary and the Home Office. God, I mean, goodness even knows. I'll tell you one way we're using it. Everything you say and do is being tracked.
And that...
You think airplane mode stops that listening? So, if you never want it to be shared, never say it. And one day, you won't be able to think it. Because the benefit of having thoughts is so you don't die. Because imagine just saying everything you thought. You'd end up getting killed by someone. There are things you shouldn't say. So being able to think is a good survival mechanism. Because it stops you saying something to me that makes me want to kill you. Imagine if AI gets into our thoughts. I mean, that's scary. But I paid my last researcher who researched my book $6,000 to research my book. Just using Grok now. Don't need that. So like anything, the tool, do you use the train to get to A to B quicker, or do you use it for robberies? So it's just a tool.
That's what I find scary. I think, what is actually me when I'm using it, and what is somebody else feeding into me? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, we are going to be homogenized in, whereby, I think they call it the singularity. But there's going to be a point in time where the distinction between tech, AI, robots and humans is now blurred. And we're getting closer and closer and closer.